the dating profile of the day today is very unique. This lovely lady, Jill. Now, we're going to go over it. And it's very interesting because it doesn't have any like red flags, deal breakers. Usually in the profiles that I review, because most Western women's profiles have at least one red flag, this one doesn't have any red flags, but it's not like a perfect profile that I had last week for you guys, which is very, very rare. So let's go over it and navigate some yellow flags, which again, you should think about before moving forward, but you want to find out if that yellow flag is acceptable and you can work around that yellow flag, or if it's a deal breaker. Now, I do want to say that because of there's just so many shitty women and profiles on dating apps all around the world, more and more men are very cautious. But I don't want you guys to miss out on good women because you saw a yellow flag and decided, well, I don't want to even deal with this, right? Let's see if we can deal with it. Now, first of all, her pictures are all very appropriate. And I would say she's not a bad looking girl at all. She's just about to hit 30. So to think about, but she's still in her 20s. Yeah. So now we do see a nose ring right here. Right now, nose rings are usually a big problem, but they're not red flags because they can be removed. As a matter of fact, I think this is the only picture where she has a nose ring. I don't see that nose rings in other pictures. Now, usually with a nose ring comes tattoos, red hair, and other bullshit. And it usually tells you that it is likely that this woman is, combative and a feminist and all those things, but not all the time. If I did not see any tattoos on her in other pictures, though she has a lot of clothes on, which is appropriate, by the way. A lot of women don't have their clothes on in a lot of profile pictures. So this is something to find out. Now, I would have that conversation, not maybe right away, but if you ended up going out on a date with her and it looks like it's something might happen, you might want to ask her, saying like, oh, "What's up with the nose ring? Like, would you ever consider like removing it?" And listen, a good woman would say, "Yeah, okay, I don't want to give this impression to my man that I'm going to be combative and so forth and so forth." And you know what? She might remove it. So the nose ring by itself is a big yellow flag, but not a red flag. So that's something to consider. Let's move on. Now she says she's curvy, which I think is actually, yeah, I guess so. Usually fat girls say they're curvy, but all right, she's 5'4". That's great. Doesn't smoke cigarettes. That's excellent. Doesn't have kids. Perfect, but may want them. Even more perfect. Okay, now she has dogs. Now, normally this is again a yellow flag, not a red flag, because did she make a decision for her future boyfriend or husband about something that only two people should decide together? And she just didn't give a fuck, saying, "Well, we're having a dog. If you don't want it, then fuck off," right? And this is absolutely undateable and non-marriage material girl. And she obviously doesn't care if maybe the man is allergic to a dog or doesn't like dogs or doesn't like to walk and pick up poop after dogs, or somebody died, maybe her parents died and it was a family dog and she was the only one who could take the dog in, right? That would be okay. And also depends, does she actually, take care of you and saying, well, if maybe you don't like dogs, or this is a trained dog that's well behaved, and maybe you like dogs as well, and the dog is something that you actually want in your life. Now, of course, much like children, don't forget, if you break up with this girl, you don't get that dog, right? All right, let's move on. She says, nursing student, so I have a busy schedule. Now, listen, she also says that she's a employed part time. You gotta figure out if this woman is super duper busy to the point where you're gonna have to work around her schedule, which should never be the case, or she's actually flexible. She is busy with getting her, maybe a better type of a job, but not a career, and she is willing to still work with your schedule, and that's okay. But you got to find out, and usually that's something that you can find out pretty quickly, right? As soon as the rule number one is that you need to invite a girl who you met on the dating app or in person to see you for a cup of coffee within 48 to 72 hours. And if she says, "I am busy," then you move on. So this will reveal itself very, very quickly. And I got to tell you, the rest of it is pretty fine. It says she's enjoying new things, learning from. Now, she says, I love to cook. I got to tell you, that's a big deal. A lot of men, a lot of you guys don't realize that it's a must do. A woman who knows how to cook and actually cooks. In this case, if she loves it, even better. Yes, a lot of us go out and take our girls out for dinners and whatever. But generally speaking, that is an absolute must have skill for a woman to be dateable. Cooking. Everybody can clean, but she obviously needs to be a clean person and clean and stuff like that. Now, she also says, I'm assuming she meant I go to the gym almost on the daily. Another thing, if she wants to be in shape, she takes care of her health, and it looks like she wants a man who does the same thing. That is a green flag. This is great. A lot of girls don't go to the gym. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I walk from work to my car, and that's my exercise." Or I walk around the mall shopping. Unless your heartbeat goes over 100 and you're sweating, it's not exercises. Okay, it's not. So, girl who goes to the gym, kudos to her. So I got to tell you, if you can get a few things out of the way, literally, when I'm talking about her nose ring, and if you find out what led her to a decision to get a dog when she knows that it can limit her choices in men, if you can find out if her schedule is flexible enough for somebody who she sees as a good man, then this profile becomes swipe right on. And again, very easy to dismiss though, right? These profiles are very easy to dismiss because there's like, oh, and then but guys, nothing is perfect in this life, right? It is hard to find a good woman as is. So you're not going to find a perfect one anymore, even though I did feature a relatively perfect profile last week, but that was rare. I told you it took me an entire week of swiping left and right on this dating apps to actually find that one. So what you got to work with is profiles like this, where you got to see through the yellow flags, but then you also need to have balls to ask them and investigate sooner rather than later. Now, of course, my suggestion for not having to deal with all of this is to, get your shit and leave. Go to the country. If you're a good man who will make a great husband, and you've made something of yourself, you improve yourself all the time, come to a country where you're appreciated, because it ain't America and it ain't Great Britain or any other of the Western countries. Women there just don't know what a good man is anymore, because they're being raised by single mothers and sim fathers, and nowadays it's not even their fault. So consider that. If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life.